What is evil? The word evil is a loaded term. It's not always clear what the word means, and it can be used to describe a lot of different things. Evil is usually defined as something that causes great harm to others or is morally wrong. Some people might say that Hitler was evil, while others might say that he was just misunderstood. The concept of evil has been around for as long as humans have had moral codes and standards for what's right and wrong. Evil has been a part of our culture for centuries in books, movies, TV shows, and more. In this video, we will look at the top 10 most evil people in history. At number 10 we have Shiro Ishi. Shiro Ishi was a Japanese army doctor in World War II who experimented on living humans with various biological and chemical agents. He was tried for war crimes by the International Military Tribunal for the Far East in 1948. His experiments were often unethical and many of his subjects died during the course of his research. Ishi was born in 1894 and graduated from the Tokyo Imperial University School of Medicine in 1922. He began working on a public health campaign for the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare in 1930. Ishi worked as a professor at Keio University School of Medicine for many years before becoming an army doctor in 1940 under General Hideki Tojo. He helped set up Unit 731 early in World War II and directed its operations until Japan surrendered to Allied forces following. Coming in number 9 we have Attila the Hun. Attila the Hun has been labeled as one of the most evil men in history, and for good reason. He was known for conquering his enemies and destroying civilizations. Even though he was a successful leader and an excellent general, he is still considered to be one of the top 10 most evil people to have ever walked this earth. From 434 until his death in March 453, Attila the Hun governed the Huns. He is remembered as the very definition of ruthlessness and immorality throughout much of European countries. After a disastrous war in Persia, Attila invaded the Eastern Roman Empire in 441. This invasion's success gave him the confidence to conquer the Westerners. He then launched an invasion of Italy, destroying its northern provinces but failed to capture Rome. Before he passed away in 453, he had planned on waging more wars against the Romans. Next, we have in number 8, Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is a name that few people forget. Born in the 12th century, he created the largest empire in human history, the Mongol Empire. He was also a skilled military strategist and tactician who helped to unify Eurasia under one government for the first time since Rome's fall. In that he wasn't quite terrible in the same manner as the other people on this list, Genghis is considerably different from them. During his 199-year-long Mongol conquests, an estimated 40 to 80 million men, women, and children were slain for no other reason than his desire to rule the world, which may easily place him at the top of this list in terms of the number of deaths. However, he was unique in that he despised everyone equally. In all seriousness though, he did more than just create 16 million living descendants and exterminate 11% of the world's population at the time. Next up in number 7 we have Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was the leader of the Nazi Party in Germany. He led a socialist and fascist government that sought to create a German empire by seizing territory in Europe. By the end of World War II, tens of millions of people had died and been destroyed as a result of Hitler's territorial invasion and racial oppression policies, including the 6 million Jews who were massacred in the Holocaust. Intense road fighting had just ended on April 30, 1945, when Soviet soldiers were detected a few blocks away from the Reich Chancellery when Hitler shot himself in the head while munching into a cyanide pill. Taking the number 6 spot is Tomás de Torquemada. Tomás de Torquemada was a Dominican friar and the first Grand Inquisitor of the Spanish Inquisition. He is known to have been born in Valladolid, sometime between 1420 to 1425. He played the role of inquisitor and was in charge of investigating and punishing non-believers. He oversaw the torching of millions of innocent civilians as Thomas frequently used callous methods for extracting confessions from people he believed to be non-believers. He almost seemed to enjoy his job, hanging, torching, suffocating, and brutalizing people with torture. And he gave people two possibilities: join the Catholic Church or die, which led to thousands of Jews and Muslims being ousted from Spain. Coming in number 5, we have Ivan the Terrible. Ivan IV, or Ivan the Terrible, was a 16th century ruler of Russia. His reign was marked by his constant need for expansion and conquest. He is often remembered as one of the cruelest and most evil rulers in history. Ivan the Terrible is an example of a leader who conquered lands to satisfy his thirst for power and recognition. He is remembered as being one of the cruelest leaders in history. When he was just 13 years old, he commanded Prince Andriy arrest so he could feed him to his ravaging dogs. For around 13 years, until the day his wife and her kid fell ill and passed away, he was somewhat at peace. It was as though the reign of terror had never left. He established the infamous Opraniki, a group of soldiers who were instructed to kill anyone they perceived to be a traitor to God, even stormed churches while they were holding Mass. Beheading, burning, strangling, scorching, blinding, and disemboweling people were some of his favorite wicked deeds. Next up in number 4 is Maximilien Robespierre. Maximilien Robespierre was a French politician and revolutionary who is best known for his role as the architect of the Reign of Terror. Also, Robespierre had a significant role in the Reign of Terror, a 10-month post-revolutionary era marked by mass murder. Under his leadership, France executed up to 40,000 people in 6 weeks. About 8% of those sentenced by the revolutionary tribunals were aristocrats, 6% were members of the clergy, 14% belonged to the middle class, and 70% were laborers or peasants who had been charged with hoarding, avoiding the military, desertion, insurrection, and other alleged offenses. His controversial career ended when he guillotined himself. In number 3, we have Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin was the dictator of the Soviet Union from 1928 to 1953. He established a brutal dictatorship and became one of the most well-known and feared men in world history. With his ruthless policies and harsh control over civilians, he managed to conquer countries like Poland, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. His hard work paid off when he became one of the top 10 most evil people in history. Joseph Stalin was a fervent supporter of exterminating large numbers of people all at once. Although the exact number is uncertain and hotly contested, it is estimated that he was responsible for the deaths of 20 million people, either directly, indirectly, or as a result of a series of events. Being a violent leader, he participated for 30 years in atrocious acts including cultural genocide, executions, and famines that resulted in the deaths of millions of his own people. One of Stalin's greatest achievements was the Great Purge, which led to the murder of over 1 million people, many of whom belonged to the upper middle class. Stalin believed that impoverished populations would have less political power. In number 2 we have Vlad the Impaler. Between 1448 and 1476, Vlad III of Romania, popularly referred to as Vlad the Impaler, served as Prince of Wallachia 3 times. The stories of the extraordinarily severe punishments Vlad meted out during his rule are what have made him most famous. Many people in Romania think of him as a prince with a strong sense of fairness. He would slowly drive a sharpened spike into the victim's body while a horse was fastened to each of their legs. The victim might pass away too quickly from shock if the stake's point was too sharp, thus it was customary to oil its end. Along with ordering the impalement of their donkey because it started whining after its masters died, Vlad had 2 monks executed to help them enter heaven. And in number 1 we have Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong was the head of China until his death in 1976. His policies and ideologies led to the deaths of millions of people. Mao Zedong Mao ruled China as a despot for 36 years, from 1943 to 1979. He would do anything to try to make China a big success on a global scale. Through forced labor, executions, and famine, he killed an uncountable number of people, but in the process, he helped China modernize and potentially become the economic superpower it is today. He may have been the most brutal leader in history, having caused the deaths of between 40 and 80 million people. Comment below. Who do you think should have been on the list? Did you enjoy this video? Check out other clips from Hush Access and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, ring the bell to be notified about our other videos. Thank you.